Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my Dragon Age, the Veilguard perspective. Now, I played this on PC through Steam, and overall it worked out pretty well. I think I mainly had any kind of issues when NVIDIA drivers were popping up, so that's the biggest kind of thing that's been going on with NVIDIA at this point, but no kind of crashes or anything. Technical state worked out pretty well. I wanted to get that one out of the way. There was some weird shit that would go on with certain kind of like lighting or like texturing kind of things, but it mainly would happen after I had like updated drivers or whatnot. NVIDIA's been having shit ass fucking things going on with that. But I overall really enjoyed this game. Yeah, there were some issues with the dialogue, mainly in the front of like repeating certain kind of things that we just kind of talked about. But as I kind of got deeper into the game and was going through with certain kind of companions and everything, I just really started liking the story and the gameplay just linking up. Now, you have to understand my pretty much relationship with the Dragon Age franchise. I had played the first Dragon Age on Xbox 360, and I really wasn't that much into it. I mean, when I was doing some kind of like companion thing, I didn't know that you could essentially friend zone yourself, because I'm like, that is a kind of a weird thing. Alright. And I just didn't really get much into it. I'm fine with turn-based and kind of tactically doing stuff with certain kind of characters and everything. It just didn't draw me in as much as I thought it would. I didn't play the second one. I had seen the third one come out, and my problem with that is it was too much of MMO design with just a single player game, and I almost got to the end of it, but I was just like, I'm fucking tired of this shit, and just didn't finish it and like traded it in. So you're like, why the fuck did you play this one? Especially with hearing how everybody was kind of going nutso on it and being like, it's the worst thing ever, or it's like, okay. I'm like, all right, let me see how this kind of works out. So I got it, and I was able to go through with it, and I actually enjoyed it. Now, I played as a warrior, mainly built as like a champion. I was a warden, fighting the blight and everything like that as my background. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I kind of liked where it kind of like gave me enough information. It didn't seem as grim, dark as everything kind of before on certain kind of things. Though granted, this franchise is really kind of weird on how the games kind of like change up everything like this. I think it was just luck that this one kind of fit more of my style. Of like, oh, okay, weird ass, dark ass shit's going on, but there's some light and everything, and seeing everything else kind of going on. So we learn about Solus, Elven God of Lies and everything. He wants to tear down the veil, which separates the physical world, and the Fade, which is like realm of demons and stuff like that, and like dreams and all this kind of shit. And he had evidently like used that to imprison the rest of his compatriots, the Evanuris, other kind of elven gods. But Varric and Lace Harding, that we had seen from previous kind of entries, have recruited your character, Rook, to help them stop him. So we also go to Minrathous and recruit Nev Harding. Not Nev Harding. Shit, I refuse those two. Let me see. Just Nev. That'll... Why did I fuse those two? Lace Harding, Nev Gallus. Jesus Christ. Always watch out. You'll get some interesting things when you just kind of flow. But we see that he's attempting the ritual. We get teleported to Arlathan Forest, which was the old capital of the Elven Empire. And he's pretty much using this dagger to be like, I got this shit, motherfucker. And Varric's like, why are you doing this? Please stop. And he's like, nope. And pretty much stabs Varric. And shit goes real. And two gods are unleashed. Elgar'nan and Gillenane. And he gets sucked into the Fade. And the interesting thing that you start learning is that Solus is pretty much manipulating you throughout the whole entire game, pretty much making you into someone to get trapped by regrets into his own kind of prison and get his ass out so he can take out Elgar'nan and Gillenane and take down the Fade. See, the Fade being put up severely detrimented the elves, and he's trying to rectify that problem. However, this would be just another kind of shakeup. I was like, there'd be demons and shit, motherfucker. So, throughout the game, we are trying to take down these gods, bringing up our group and making the Veilguard. Valara Lucanus, Davrin, Tosh, Emmerich. Yeah, and I actually really started liking these kind of characters. Emmerich was a really interesting one, being pretty much a necromancer with the Morn Watch, and him thinking about, well, him having his servant Manfred, and then being actually very afraid of death and wanting to become a lich. That was a pretty interesting kind of story, and I liked really kind of delving in with him and going through all those kind of companion quests on him. This was pretty good in the sense that even though this started with like some live service elements or something, you do see that with how the kind of faction leveling up works. It's kind of fucked up. I mean, most of the time you do get faction kind of level ups, but I kind of got kind of remnants. We also get a kind of choice system where we have to save one city or another, and that makes a detriment on the city that you don't save. So I was like, shit. But you are able to help and get through. You can make all of these guys heroes of the Veilguard, though you will lose at least one character, and I would look that up. What kind of decision leads to that kind of one, because it isn't really dependent upon their Veilguard, their hero of the Veilguard status. It's like, who do you want to get killed, pretty much, and it's down to kind of like 2 characters. But Lace Hardings was interesting, of getting powers of the stone and being able to dream and learning more about the dwarves and how it's connected with Solus. Is definitely, Solus is like the linchpin of like, I've done fucked up stupid ass shit. Like, him and the Evanders pretty much like took down the Titans and made them go mad, slicing their dreams from them, which is what is evidently the Blight, which is an angry kind of crazy like, ah! And the Children of the Stone are the kind of remnants. The dwarves are kind of the remnants of that, and it's like Lace Harding understands, like, what the fuck? And then Balara and the rest of the elves learning that the elves used to be spirits that have taken a corporeal form. They're like, what? Oh, fuck. Balara's was an interesting one as well, because she is like in the Veil Jumpers, trying to understand all this magic and everything, and her and her relationship with her brother, and dealing with this other kind of rogue elven god. I really connected with her on that one. Not much for me to pick her as the romance option. I picked Nev, who's the kind of like noir investigator of Minrathous, and I think they handled that pretty well, going through and having her take down Venatori blood magic mages in Tevinter. Let's see. Yeah, Lucanus being pretty much a contract killer with the Antivan Crows, and I had him hardened because since I was going for Nev, I of course saved Minrathous, and that left that down, but it didn't really horribly affect Lucanus in my playthrough, just mainly with the systems that I had to kind of engage with. Let's see. Tosh was interesting in exploring her non-binary nature. I can see how like the execution could be a little bit wonky, but it overall worked for me. I was like learning about her being like being able to breathe fire and being a dragon hunter, and trying to talk about herself with her mother and get that through before her mother pretty much sacrifices herself to like save her from this like dickhead, and then we have to fight a dragon and her dealing with that. Let's see. Davrin with the Griffins and the Wardens was a cool kind of story to kind of go with this like Gloomhowler and stuff, and how the Wardens did fucked up shit with the Blight. It's like, damn, the Blight really is more explored in like this corrupting power source kind of force. I'm like, you're using like this shit that you did horribly to the Titans to try and terraform the world into giant eldritch monstrosities. That's pretty much Gilneane's kind of thing. Elgernon's just like, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want kind of shit, until he gets to the end and we're like, we gotta beat that dude's ass. So, you pretty much are going through and getting through the different factions, trying to figure out what the gods' plans are, pretty much to unleash the Blight on the world. So, you kind of go through and try and piece that stuff together. We learn that Varric, even though we think that he's alive most of the time, is dead, and Solus was pretty much utilizing that to get us to get locked in the prison, but of course we get out and kind of work with his ass. I was able to go through most of the kind of side quest stuff to make sure that like he and the Inquisitor, because the Inquisitor pops up, but the thing is that's mainly just down to what they had their Inquisitor selected as for their cannon, which I had no problem with. They go off, and he utilizes himself to seal the veil. Veil! No! No! He doesn't seal the veil. What the fuck? The veil. Okay, now... You ever have the idea of a misheard lyric, or if you replaced a word and you're like, instead of the veil, it's the veal. And do we have to protect the baby cow? What the fuck is going on with this baby cow? Motherfucker! Sorry. Strange thoughts. But him and the Inquisitor go off and pretty much keep everything kind of locked down on that kind of front. And I went, okay, this worked out pretty well. And I kind of liked going through the different kind of areas. I mean, you could explore around, but it's not open world like in most kind of senses. I mean, you can jump around, and most of that worked out pretty well. Now, I had this on an SSD, and so loading times were pretty fucking fast, so no problems there. Your mileage may vary on consoles or other kind of hardware or anything, so keep that in mind. Combat and gameplay is where really, like, when I'm doing these kinds of games, you always have that kind of thing of, like, I can really like characters, I can really like the story and everything, but if I have to go through shit fucking gameplay to get through it, I'm not going to have a good time. Deadly Premonition. That didn't happen here. Now, it's more action-oriented, very more action-oriented, but I always felt like I'm like, oh, okay, figure out what I'm going to do, how my kind of build works out, and utilize my abilities as correctly as possible while linking up my abilities with the two kind of companions I have with me. And work with them as you can, because there's a priming system and a detonation system. You also work within this system as well, where, let's see, I think there's just mainly two. There's, like, you can apply weakened and detonate weakened, apply sundered and detonate sundered, and you can switch around on that. You've also got fire damage, necromancy damage, and bleeding, and ice. But mainly the ones that I remember seeing were kind of linked to certain kind of elements with what was kind of going on. But it was in such a kind of way that I felt nice kind of feedback of what was going on with the system, and I rarely kind of died. Sometimes a weird fucking thing came out of nowhere and fucking killed my ass. I'm like, shit, fuck. That mainly was down to kind of leveling, potentially, where I was, like, vastly under-leveled of what I was attempting to do, and I'm like, holy goddamn shit. I kind of do that sometimes with certain kind of RPGs where I experiment. I'm like, can I handle this? Oh, fuck no. Okay, cool. But I liked the flow of what was kind of going on. Now, I haven't played any of the other kind of classes, but I was able to hack and slash, utilize my board and sword pretty well, and I had fun with it. It was a nice kind of gameplay loop. I thought about what I needed to do. I was able to dodge out and everything, and nothing really went kind of weird. The biggest thing I kind of had an issue with was kind of the gearing system. It's very weird. Alright? I mean, you get stuff when you're doing certain kind of factions, but there's like a set kind of amount of gear, and when I was trying to do stuff for my build, I couldn't buy certain kind of things. You'd sometimes randomly RNG get duplicates that would up the rarity of your gear. You don't really craft things. You have in the Lighthouse, which is your base of operations in the Fade that you take over from Solus, the Caretaker. And you can upgrade, pretty much level up. Now, actually, literally, the level of your gear. Say you got a helmet, and +1, +2, +3, +4. Also enchant them as well. The numbers don't get affected when you find a duplicate that increases the rarity. So if you want to increase the rarity, you really kind of want to do that, because you've got your base kind of tier, which only has maybe like one perk, and then when you get to the next tier, next perk and everything. I kind of had this build that I found out from online, but I was really kind of stuck because I couldn't unlock the rest of the stuff for the synergy for the build until the end, because I had gone through and purchased everything I could have from the vendors. I had pretty much went through and gotten every kind of chest that I could to see if I could get any fucking thing. I then started going through the story looking for every fucking chest as well to kind of get towards the end. And then I get to the end and this lady's like, oh yeah, I got a lot of shit for you. And then I'm like, oh, there's my thing. There's my other thing. But that's like pretty much right before the final battle. It's like, you have to have certain kind of areas to be able to like let loose on that shit. So it's a very strange gearing system. Now, did this mean that I got my ass handed to me constantly? Fuck no. I was still able to rack and tack and kick all kinds of ass with what I was doing. But I felt like my build wasn't where it could be through no fault of my own. I hate that kind of RNG aspect. If I need to go grind and like kick something's ass to get it, cool, I'll do that. If I need to grind to get a resource or a material, sure, within a good amount of time. I don't need to take 50 fucking hours to get like 3 fucking skins, to make a Glibble to get a Flooberflarp, to get my awesome ass sword. There becomes too many steps when you do shit. Make a decent enough challenge and let me do it. Either understanding how to take down a certain kind of boss, or some kind of scenario, or even a role-playing kind of scenario. Let me do that kind of shit, and I'm good with it. And give me enough time to kind of fuck around with it. So that way I've got that kind of power fantasy. What's the point of getting OP build when you're just pretty much just going to do it at the last boss? Let me at least, like, give me some enemies where I can at least kind of chew on it, understand it, learn how it kind of works. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't even get that kind of thing. You got this awesome ass gear and shit, and you've got all these awesome ass abilities, but you don't have anything to use it on. And before you get to like the final boss. Now, it's not to that kind of extreme in here. I still had vast enjoyment out of this game, mainly because of the story, the lore, and learning about everything. And that was also another thing. Leveling wise, with the caretaker, sorry, since we're talking about gear, this links up as well. You have to find these mementos and stuff, and good luck looking at certain kind of walkthroughs, because certain kind of things were in places that weren't in the walkthrough, and not. You gotta find these mementos. They give you lore entries and stuff, but you also use it to power up your caretaker so you can do bigger upgrades, better upgrades, and better enchantments as well. Again, I don't like when that kind of power is taken out of your hands. If I need to find something, cool. Just don't RNG the fucking shit out of it to just extend it to like filler kind of point where it's so much padding that Paddington's even like, fuck man, copyright infringement, bitch! And then you're like, god damn Paddington, why the fuck are you freaking, man? It's like, I get it. Holy shit, he going ham kind of shit. I didn't think that this was padded out too bad. I've had other kind of games where I'm like, this is only like, I mean, there's a balancing act here. I spent like almost or a little bit over 100 hours. I got all the achievements in it. I like being able to spend I like spending quality time in a game world. If that is 5 hours, cool. And I've really gotten into the characters, the setting, the gameplay loop and everything, cool. If it's 50 hours and it's quality, cool. 100 hours, cool. But then again, when you start stretching that and people are like using that as your benchmark of your money, you have to fucking shit. You have to judge the quality of it. You have to understand, okay, am I getting 100 quality hours out of this? You gotta judge it. You gotta review it. You gotta understand what you're getting out of it. Because if I'm just going around fucking poking something's ass for like 20 hours before fucking RNG poops out the thing that I fucking want or need for this ultimate ass gear, that's nothing. That's just wasting my time, not giving me a sense of accomplishment. of getting through or doing something really cool in the game or understanding the lore or understanding it and figuring it out myself. That's just me poking something's ass until it shits out what I need. And then at that point I'm like, eh. But that doesn't really happen here. Now, there are RNG aspects that I'm like, you really needed this to be tuned, but the development of this game was like, fuck all shit, EA being like, there should be live service and shit. Please, no. No. But I do understand that people who have been invested in the franchise and invested in certain kind of thematic tones of it would definitely be disappointed in this. So, if you're looking at me like, what are you on, you crazy-ass motherfucker? I really wasn't into the theming tones of some of the other Dragon Age games, but this one hit for me. The characters hit for me. The story hit for me. Everything that they were able to do worked very well. I'm like, I'm having fun with this. And the gameplay. If the gameplay wasn't into it for me, that would have been the kind of deal breaker. Now, I love turn-based games. Persona 5 Royale. Yeah. Fuck yeah, do that shit. Final Fantasy games. Yeah. And their action ones are pretty good too. Pokemon. Dragon Quest 11. Yeah, that's a good turn-based one. So, I'm not adverse for turn-based ones. It's just how certain kind of systems were. It was other kind of aspects that added to the weirdness for like the original one that really kind of threw me, and I'm like, eh. But it just clicked here for me, and I'm fine with others not clicking for them on this and not trusting EA. Trust me, I'm with you on that with EA. I was surprised that this worked, and any of the kind of Star Wars ones of like the Jedi Survivor and all that kind of shit worked. Alright? EA does not learn their lessons well, and they just do stupid kind of shit, but that's broader kind of industry at this point. So, if you don't like this, that's fine. If what I'm saying sounds stupid and insane to you, that's fine. Don't, I'm just trying to tell you what my opinion is and what my experience was with the game. If that kind of lines up with what you're kind of looking for, cool. Go for it, test it out with whatever kind of system you've got. And if not, trade it in or refund it. Because I can only give you a certain kind of bit of what I had with it, and it clicked with me. I was really surprised at that. I'm like, okay, maybe this will just be an alright kind of RPG, and I'll kind of move on. But I liked learning about the characters, really getting into their stories, going through their stories with them, before getting us to the end and being like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do this shit, motherfuckers. And just having fun with it. I liked going through the story. I liked learning about Solus and his inability to recognize his mistakes until I was able to kind of like make the correct choices to kind of get him to rectify them without destroying the world. Learning about Harding and trying to get her to let go of the anger and be herself instead of being infected by the Titan Rage. Nev trying to be a better kind of inspiration for Minrathous. Lucanus, he was hardened, so it was pretty much put down to a choice where he just locks his asshole kind of cousin up for trying to pretty much kill him and their grandmother. So, yeah, it was like, Tosh, learning about herself and being more of herself. Valara, trying to help her brother, but being unable to and going through with their funeral and everything. I am a sucker for sibling kind of relationships and everything. This one isn't like one of those top tier ones for me, but it still hit me enough to be like, alright, this works out pretty well. Of course, Emmerich, and really like looking into mortality and understanding that, and Davrin trying to figure out how to balance being pretty much a monster hunter and a dad to Asan the Griffin. Yeah, I didn't expect these characters to resonate with me as much as they did, but I'm glad that they did, and I was able to experience this game. Let's see. Anything else kind of weird? No, there's cool dragon fights and everything that you can get into. Most of them There's some in the story, some that are kind of side quest ones that you kind of have to hunt for, but I 100%ed it, and it didn't feel stupid kind of going through with that. With like the achievements and everything. I only missed kind of when I'm like, what fucking achievement is this? And then I just loaded up an old save and kind of like did that because I would still recommend doing tiered kind of saving systems. Have at least 3 kind of saves going on, at least in case something gets corrupted or anything. I only had one kind of weird save issue where it said it didn't save for some weird ass reason, and I saved another kind of thing and it worked out. So no big deal. It wasn't like I lost hundreds of hours or anything. But be careful about that. I don't know your setup or whatnot, so just be careful. Always be on the hunt for that kind of shit. I do the kind of save shit because I've just had, like, not horrible luck, but it's better for me to be prepared than to just get smacked out of nowhere and be like, oh, I've lost everything. Fuck. Yeah. So, if this sounds interesting to you, check it out. If it sounds completely and utterly boring and that I don't know what I'm talking about, also avoid it. That's completely alright. Since I've been doing these reviews, I've pretty much tried to change my style, not to the point of being like, but there's certain kind of instances where, like, yeah, my tastes don't line up with yours, and I could be used as a kind of quote-unquote negative review. If I like something, you're like, I'm gonna avoid that fucking shit like the plague. Or if I dislike something, I might check it out. That's quite alright. I want people to find things that they enjoy and be able to talk about them. And I just really enjoyed this one. And we'll see what EA and Bioware does with, like, any kind of other shit with the Dragon Age franchise. I think pretty much at this point, you're just gonna want to look into other kind of studios. We do have other ones. I am interested in Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. I will get that and play that at a certain kind of point, but I've heard very good things about that as a turn-based RPG and its influences from, like, JRPGs and everything like that. The thing is, with how the gaming industry is, if you're really into kind of Dragon Age kind of stuff, I think EA has pretty much eaten and killed Bioware enough for this to be pretty much dead. So kind of look for other kind of avenues. I mean, Larian's done with Baldur's Gate. That's a completely different kind of beast. I mean, it's more of the same kind of line of what Dragon Age Origins was attempting to do RPG-wise. But they're moving on to other kind of things. But I would still look into them as a studio for that kind of stuff. I don't know who else. And that's the thing. I think that this as a franchise could have... It's really strange that they have done these games like this, where you can essentially have someone who's a fan of 1, a fan of 2, a fan of 3, and a fan of 4, and none of them can agree on what's going on because each game is so vastly kind of different, even though they're in the same kind of world. I can mainly think of movies and horror games where that happens, where, like, you start one as a horror game and then you go with the same kind of protagonist, so it turns into an action game in the second one, and then you kind of have to morphify after that to see what the fuck's kind of going on. So, Dragon Age is a strange franchise in that kind of effect. It's very kind of weird. But hey, those are my opinions on the game. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.